For people who weren't around in the 70s, it's hard to understand just how big John Travolta was. He got his big break in 1975 when he landed the role of Vinnie Barbarino in the TV series Welcome Back, Kotter. Travolta became a household name practically overnight and began to get larger roles. In 1976, he starred in the movies Carrie and The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. He also released a studio album, and his cover of the song Let Her In hit number 10 on the Billboard charts. In 1977, John Travolta starred in Saturday Night Fever, for which he earned an Oscar nomination. He was 24 at the time, which made him one of the youngest actors to ever receive an Oscar nom. As if that wasn't enough, the very next year Travolta starred in the movie Grease. Grease went on to become the top-grossing movie of 1978 and catapulted Travolta into international stardom. Travolta had another hit in 1980 with Urban Cowboy, and then in 1981 he starred in the Brian De Palma movie Blowout. Now, Travolta was primarily known for his singing and dancing roles, but in Blowout he proved his true range as a dramatic actor. Unfortunately, while Blowout received critical praise, it was a box office flop, and this was seemingly the beginning of the end for John Travolta's career. Between 1984 and 1992, Travolta starred in a series of flops and racked up 4 Razzie nominations, including a nomination for Worst Actor of the Decade. In 1989, he starred in Look Who's Talking, which was a financial success but critically panned. Meanwhile, in 1992, a young director named Quentin Tarantino released his feature-length directorial debut, Reservoir Dogs, which would go on to be ranked as one of the greatest independent movies of all time. For his next project, Quentin decided to do Pulp Fiction. His original choice for the lead, Vincent Vega, was Michael Madsen, but unfortunately Madsen was unavailable. Around this same time, Tarantino had wanted to meet with Travolta because not only was John Travolta one of his favorite actors, but Blowout was one of his favorite movies. Travolta showed up to Tarantino's apartment in Los Angeles only to realize that, by an astonishing coincidence, Tarantino was living in the same apartment that Travolta had once lived in. The two hit it off, and Tarantino decided Travolta would be right for the role. Of course, a lot of studio execs, including Harvey Weinstein, pushed back at the idea of casting Travolta, calling him washed up. However, Tarantino fought hard for Travolta, and eventually he got the job.
He put his career on the line with Weinstein in order to get me to do it. And I couldn't believe anybody was doing that for anybody in show business, really. And he was, and he said, use John or I don't want to do the movie.
When Pulp Fiction was released in 1994, it was a massive success. It garnered an Oscar nomination and won the Palme d'Or. Travolta also received an Oscar nomination, a feat which he had not accomplished in 17 years. The rest of the 90s resulted in great success for Travolta. Between 1995 and 1999, he starred in a string of successful movies, including Get Shorty, Broken Arrow, Phenomenon, Michael, Face Off, Primary Colors, A Civil Action, and The General's Daughter. Travolta was paid $150,000 to appear in Pulp Fiction, but by the time he made Face Off, his price tag had reached a whopping $20 million. Since then, Travolta has made a series of questionable decisions, and his career has continued to have its ups and downs. But one thing is clear: he would never be where he is today without his iconic role as Vincent Vega.